Hello, welcome in 2025. Okay, so we probably never met, and this is probably the yeah one of the first time we're going to talk, but it's not gonna be the last one. So if watching this video in 2025, it's because it was actually recorded in 2025. Yes, today is the 1st of January 2025, and I'm making that video because I feel like something big has happened in 2024, and it's going to just escalate in a way that you and I and so many people in the software industry world are not ready. So let me tell you a quick story here. My name is Davey. I'm a software engineer. I've build software for companies, like tons of companies, but beyond that, I'm an entrepreneur. I've built company, hired hundreds of people, brought a lot of money for people at my company, and yeah, it's been a really wild ride the last 8 years. I went bankrupt with some of my company, and some of my product worked really well and other really failed. So I've been in this entrepreneurial world, like ups and down. And one thing I can attest is change is inevitable. And when it happens, for some people it happens so fast, and for other people, and if you see the thing coming and you can quickly adjust, you can win the first wave. But if you take too long to react, you might still catch the last wave, but you might be too late also, right? So let me take an example. Yes, this video is about AI and automation and how it's going to drastically affect the way you write software. So the last few weeks, I got people complaining in the software industry world, like, Ed, they're done. They're gonna change completely their industry. They're gonna go to like farming or things like that. And some of them are serious about it, which is good because we need probably more of this. But if you're doing that because you're afraid of AI taking over everything, you want to watch this video because I have some good news and some bad news for you. So let's start with the bad news. The bad news is, yes, it's going to take your job. It's just that simple. Uh, well, it actually does. It did. Look at all the tools that exist: Bolt, Cursor, um, Windsurf. Like so many tools out there. Copilot, and what these tools are doing, they're in a way, I'm going slowly in the positive part. These things are making you a superhuman. Okay. Before I go deeper into the positive part, because I'm not someone that's gonna look at things and be like, oh, this is a mountain, but it's dangerous. No, I'm gonna look at the mountain and say, this is a mountain. Let me go at the top there, right? But you know what? To go at the top of this mountain, you need to first come down from this mountain and then start climbing from down there and then go all the way up there, because this one there is higher than where I am right now, and then the one next to it is also higher, but there is no path between, like linking them beside going down there and going up. So this metaphor is a metaphor of my life. It's a metaphor of what is about to happen, and it's actually happening already, and you're just gonna have to adjust to it. And yes, the bad thing, the bad aspect is, it feels like you're gonna lose your job, and sorry, it's going to happen. But what is your job really? Now, let me focus on the positive part for a few minutes. And for that, I want to tell you a quick story. Hopefully, it's going to be quick. When I started programming, I was 11 years old. Around 11 and 14 years old, in that period, I was running a small business, and I needed to automate a few Excel thing, like revenue, the plays we gotta do. It was a dancing group. yeah, I used to be a really good dancer, not kidding about it. And I had to manage bookings and all of that, and I wrote a VBA code to automate all of that. And then I fell in love with programming, and a few years later, I enter the university and I start programming with C. And you know what? While I was writing code in C, I there was this idea of like you write code in a Notepad plus, a plus plus, and then you use a terminal to actually compile the code and then get a binary, and then you run that binary, right? And a few months later, I discover part of the course, I discovered a Makefile, right, where you can automate that part. And for me, already at that moment, I felt like, oh my gosh, I can move faster. Yeah, that's the first thing that came into mind was like, I was already amazed that I could do C programming, but then knowing that with all the tools that I'm using, yes, I'm in France, like Villa Raymond. So all the tools that are what the Makefile provide to me was already magical. Now, fast forward in 2022, Microsoft launched the .NET framework, and then next to that you had Visual Studio, and I couldn't understand why people will pay thousands of euros for such a tool, because I felt like my Notepad++ and all the automation I had built around it was giving me already a superpower using tools like Vim and things like that. But guess what? I had an internship somewhere in 2004 that was in C# and .NET and Visual Studio. And my gosh, the speed at which I move with these tools, learning that by day. In evening, I will go back home and then keep on trying these tools, and I felt like I was on top of the world. It was amazing. It was crazy. And I was like, the only thing that's slowing me down here is my keyboard. So I went to learn how to use the keyboard in a like very profound way, so I can move faster with my keyboard. And then we realized that I became so fast that the thing that slowed me down was the power of the machine. And obviously Visual Studio, compiling and things like that, these processes were the one that to me were taking too much time. And that's the way I build my career. Every single tools I will go and explore and build and realize that that's the tool I need to move faster. And then obviously Visual Studio became better and better. Actually, the license for Visual Studio Pro and Ultimate was something around 5,000 euro. Could you imagine per year, right? So it was really powerful tool. And then, yeah, I built my career around that. And if you fast forward like 8 years, around 2012, I started seeing something happening in the JavaScript world. And I felt like this is unprecedented. Like, people are writing JavaScript in the back end. And I remember writing JavaScript also in my C# .NET code to run in the front end. So it was like server-side render thing. That was crazy. I felt like if I moved to the JavaScript ecosystem, I could then have JavaScript running on both sides, which gave me an edge. I really felt like it would give me an edge. And I was like, it's going to happen. There's a world where this is going to be reality. And I'm talking about 2012, meaning that I was 3 years in the wave of .NET, Node.js, and all these tools. So I start building tools. I start building my companies and all my products using these tools. It's like, that's what I need. And guess what? Yeah. For the 7-8 years that followed, and until today, I would say in 2025, this thing brought more than 7 million in revenue to me, me and the business and all the people that were involved. I said these numbers because I want to put an emphasis on the fact that if you cannot just quickly and then adopt a tool that maybe people don't see right away, and that can give you an edge, like moving fast, building better application. Why don't you do that? Why wouldn't you do that, right? So that's what I did. And fast forward 2024, I start playing with all the AI tools, and because I felt like when ChatGPT came out, something about programming will change, but it was still like fragile, like you ask ChatGPT something and it will give you like shitty code, and you're like, okay, you're not there yet. But then Cursor came out, Bolt, and all these tools, Claude came out, and then I started realizing that, yeah, still being ahead of the curve, I started realizing that, oh, I can move. Like, no, I had to think that the 10x engineer exists, because that was a concept. People were saying, yeah, that doesn't exist. Stop that. You're putting pressure on. No, the reality is like the 10x engineer was born at that exact moment. And you know what? In 2025, we're going toward the 100x engineer, which means that a company today that has 10 people, 10 software engineers, can move as if they had 1,000 engineers working together. And you know what? If you put 1,000 engineers together, you're going to have a lot of problems to sync and then have middle management and stuff like that. Which means that when I say 10 engineers that can give you about 10 to 100 times the output, I'm sorry, that's without the middle management and all of that, it means that you move way faster. So now, let me quickly finish this video by talking about 2025 and beyond. If you and your team, if you're not using AI today to build stuff, you're just like me in early 2000 when I was using Notepad++ and all these stupid tools to build things when the .NET and Microsoft Visual Studio were there, and you knew that, oh, I should embrace these tools if I want to move 5-10 times faster instead of staying in my Notepad++ and stuff like that. And then even the people using Visual Studio were like, yeah, you still need ReSharper because it's gonna give you another 3-4 times speed. And guess what? I bought the license and I kept moving together faster. And then if you look at the JavaScript C# part, it was also the same thing when I was like, oh, I don't need a front-end engineering team and a back-end engineering team because there is C# or Java in the back-end. I can just have a JavaScript team, which means that we can move way faster across all the stack. And if you add MongoDB as a database, then you have almost JavaScript end to end. So if you go with that thing, AI today can give you an edge that might not last forever, but at least this year and the next 3-4 years, I guarantee you a lot of company will have hard time moving toward that direction. So you watching this video, I encourage you to embrace these tools because it's there. It's you're not gonna lose your job. You will lose it if you're not embracing these tools. That's really the message I want you to get is it's there. The playground is on. You gotta play the game. And the game is solve problems and provide value to your customers. With the tool you use, they don't care. What they want is you deliver for them a problem, a solution. And the tools you use to do that, yeah, Cursor. Um, I don't know. I'm using Cursor, Bolt. I have a few other tools that I had to customize and so on and so forth. But when I wake up in the morning at 5:30 a.m., by 10, I have one software done entirely. And when I say entirely, end to end, tested, all of that, it's just, we live in a different world. So go and solve problem, embrace these tools. And guess what? 2025 is a good year for you to just go wild. So yeah, that's it. I'm done with this video. I will see you in the next one, and hopefully by then you have built some you have embraced that technology. And if you don't embrace that today, you become obsolete, and that's not what I wish to you. Have a nice 20-25 years, and enjoy the view. It's beautiful. Cheers.